Have you ever been lying in bed, completely still, but your mind is running a marathon? You're not working, you're not moving, but somehow, you're exhausted, because your mind has been talking to you all day. You're not good enough. What if you fail? Others are better than you. Maybe you should just wait. And the worst part? You listened. You believed it. Every single word. This is the story of a boy named Aiden. A boy who didn't lose to life. He lost to his own mind. And maybe this story isn't just about him. Maybe it's about you. Aiden was 24 years old, smart enough to know what he wanted, but too afraid to go after it. He had dreams, big ones. He wanted to build something of his own. A small business, a better life, something he could be proud of. But every morning, he would wake up, look at the ceiling, and his mind would start talking before his feet even touched the floor. You don't have enough money. You don't have the right connections. People like you don't succeed at things like this. So Aiden would close his eyes again. He told himself he was resting. But really, he was hiding. From the world, from the work, from himself. Days passed like this. Then weeks, then months, and Aiden started believing that this was just who he was. A person who thinks big but does not. He didn't know yet that his mind had become his prison, and he was the one holding the key. One evening, Aiden sat at his small desk. His notebook was open. His pen was in his hand. But the page was empty. He had been sitting there for 2 hours, and not a single word written. Because every time he tried to begin, his mind stopped him. What if it's not good enough? What if people laugh? What if you try everything and still fail? So he closed the notebook and told himself, tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I'll be ready. Tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow came. And it looked exactly like today. He scrolled through his phone. He watched other people building their dreams online, and instead of feeling inspired, he felt smaller. See, they're talented. You're not. They had support, you don't. Stop dreaming, Aiden. Be realistic. He slammed his phone down. He walked to the window and stared outside. The street was quiet. The sky was dark. And for the first time, Aiden felt truly alone. Not because no one was around him, but because he felt like a stranger inside his own mind. That night, Aiden couldn't sleep. He went outside and sat on the steps of his building. The air was cold. The street was empty. An old man from the floor above him came down slowly. He sat beside Aiden without asking. Just sat there. After a long silence, the old man spoke. You look like a man fighting a war. Aiden gave a small, tired laugh. Something like that. The old man nodded slowly. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, cracked mirror. Old. Worn. The edges were rough. He handed it to Aiden. Look at it, he said. Aiden looked. He saw his own reflection. What do you see? The old man asked. Myself, Aiden said quietly. The old man shook his head. No. You see what your mind has told you to see. Your mind shows you a broken man, a failing man, a man who isn't ready, but that mirror. That's just the story your fear has been writing. Aiden stared at the cracked reflection. The mirror is cracked, the old man continued, and so is the image it shows. Your mind is cracked with fear, son, and a cracked lens never shows the full picture. He stood up slowly, patted Aiden on the shoulder, and walked back inside. Aiden sat there alone, holding that small cracked mirror, and something shifted. Aiden sat there for a long time, and slowly, he began to think differently. Every voice in his head, he started to question it. You're not good enough, says who? When did I ever truly try? You'll fail, maybe, but I haven't yet, because I haven't started. People like you don't succeed. What kind of person am I exactly? Because I've never actually tested that. One by one, he picked up each thought his mind had thrown at him, and he looked at it closely, and what he found was shocking. None of those thoughts were facts. They were fears dressed up as facts. They sounded like truth, but they were just stories. Stories his mind had written to keep him safe, to keep him small, to keep him still. And Aiden realized something painful and powerful at the same time. He had never really failed at his dream. He had only ever failed to begin. That night he opened his notebook again. The page was still blank, but this time he wrote, not perfectly, not confidently, but he wrote, and that was enough. Here is what Aiden's story teaches us. Your mind is powerful, incredibly powerful, but power without direction becomes destruction. When your mind is filled with fear and doubt, it doesn't go quiet. It gets louder. It builds cases against you. It collects evidence of every time you failed, every time you were embarrassed, every time things went wrong, and it presents all of that to you as your identity. But your identity is not your fear. Your identity is not your worst day. Your identity is not the voice that tells you to stop. That voice is not wisdom. That voice is not reality. That voice is just fear, wearing the mask of your own thoughts. The moment you learn to question your mind instead of obeying it blindly, that is the moment everything changes. Not your circumstances, not your luck, not your talent, just your ability to look at your own thoughts and ask, is this actually true? Most of the time, it isn't. Aiden didn't become successful overnight. He struggled. He stumbled. Some days the old voice came back, but now he knew its name. And knowing the name of your enemy is the first step to defeating it. You have dreams, real ones, important ones, but somewhere between who you are today and who you could become, your mind built a wall. Brick by brick, thought by thought, day by day. You don't have to tear that wall down all at once. Just question one brick today, just one thought. Ask yourself, is this actually true? Or am I just afraid? That one question could change everything, because the mind that once trapped you can become the mind that sets you free. You just have to stop believing every story it tells. If this story touched something inside you, give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the Wordy Tales. Because every week we bring you stories that don't just entertain, they change the way you see yourself.